Welcome in. It is a Clippers Talk live. Appreciate you guys. Was pulling some video earlier. I was going to say audio. I'm still not used to doing all this video stuff on the YouTube side. And I thought we'd go over what I thought was the most consequential 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the ball game last night in OKC that ultimately led to the Clippers' demise. Maybe I'll give out a keyword in a little bit for the Intuit Dome hat giveaway. Had an extra one of these. Thought I'd share the wealth. I already given away that first keyword. I won't tell you on what episode it was or what the keyword was. That's not how we roll here. This is the point. You have to tune into all of them to make sure you get that keyword. 3 of them I'll be giving away over the next week of shows, next few days of shows. And then by the time I give out the third keyword, then you put all 3 into the comment section for whatever that episode is. And yes, you will win the Intuit Dome hat if you are first there. But still unpacking what happened last night in the Clippers' 134-128 loss in OKC to the Thunder, where they had 24 turnovers. I don't know if I highlighted enough of how good Ivica Zubac was, especially in the second half of this ball game. This was somebody who they were having trouble getting him involved in the first half when they were down 66-53, down 13 at the half. Ivica Zubac was 2 for 2. He had attempted 2 shots. He also wasn't playing very well out there. He did have 8 boards, but 4 points, and he had 4 turnovers. All of his turnovers came in the first half. And a lot of them, as you can guess, were on him and just not being decisive enough with the basketball. I think the first play of the game was a turnover by Ivica Zubac that had OKC going the other way. Let me confirm that in my notes, because I guess that was foreshadowing of things to come. If the first play of the game was a Clippers turnover on a night where they ended up having 24 of them. Brutal. They're at 17.8 turnovers per game now. That is 29th in the league. It has to stop. Yeah, looking for this Zubac play here. Yeah, Zubac turnover and steal to start. Yep, that'll do it. They did eventually pull him early in the first quarter and put in the small ball lineup, and it was very successful, actually. They went, at one point, they were a +8 out there before OKC called a timeout, and they were only down by 1 after the first quarter. We'll get into what happened in the second quarter in a little bit here, but Mike Dang, first in here. Yeah, some people taking some positives out of the game against OKC. I am too. I honestly feel like there are more positives that can take away from a loss to OKC in that fashion than positives I could take away from a win against the Toronto Raptors, which is just, if you don't win that game, it's a disaster. It's just, you have to win it. Same with the Portland Trailblazers game, yet they did not. I mean, said OKC's defense is for real, even without Chet. Yeah, and the Clippers' defense, as OKC's offense, is for real too. They're the best team in the West by far. And even without Chet, they're going to win a ton of games because they can go small ball without Chet and, of course, without Isaiah Hartenstein still. The defense is still going to be for real. Like they created 24 turnovers. And if you watch the tape, a lot of those were just them shrinking passing lanes. They have a ton of length. They have a ton of switchability. OKC is special. They still lead the league in defensive rating at 102.6, and it's 4 points better than the next best team in the Orlando Magic. Defensive rating per 100 possessions. The Clippers' defensive rating now, it dropped from 4 to 10 after that game, after giving up 134 points. Now, a lot of that, I don't even put it so much on their defense in some ways. It's their offense leading to them playing bad defense because teams are getting out in transition so much. It makes things so difficult to scramble, especially against a team with youth and athleticism. in the OKC Thunder. That's just death. Turnovers are death against a team like that. Yeah. They still are so good on the perimeter. A lot of that won't matter. They do have guys coming back, by the way. Kala. Just watch. They're still going to be good defensively. They're still going to be fine in that area. I'm not saying as good, but they're going to be more than just competent. But, I keep receipts, so we'll see. Offensively, the Clippers did get a bump after putting up 128 points. They're now 17th on that side. I think they were 21st heading into that game. Offensive rating 111.9. That's good for 17th in the league. They also shot 54% from three and hit 20 of them. Mike Dang said, how do we fix the turnovers? Is it a focus thing? Is it a practice thing? Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy can harp on it, but how do you substantially fix it? Get another ball handler, get Kawhi Leonard back so there's less pressure on James Harden to do everything. Ultimately, that's how you fix it. I don't think it's going to change. Are they going to have games where, they only have 12, 13, 14 turnovers and it's not 17.8 per night? That's just their average because they've had a couple of games over 20 now. But this goes back to the preseason. They were turning the ball over. James Harden was turning the ball over a ton in the preseason. We said, he'll clean that up. No, it's too taxing. It's too difficult. Him having his highest usage rating since the last season with the Houston Rockets, I believe in 2019, 2020. His usage rating is at like 31%. It's not conducive to sustainable basketball. It's not conducive to the ability to take care of the basketball. For instance, like 31% usage rating. If you want to know where that stacks up against other guys in the league, it's 30.1 now. So it's gone down slightly, I think, over the last couple of games. But you got youngins like, John Morant. He's at 32% there. Luka Doncic, 33% there. Who else we got? Like Tyrese Maxey's at 30%, right around where James Harden is at. Jalen Brunson at 29%. So some of these guys that are much younger are not having to do what James Harden is being asked to do. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's at 31%. It's just not conducive to winning basketball, or at least taking care of the basketball. It's going to be a problem until they figure out another ball handler that can really up the usage rating or lower the usage rating for James Harden and up it for himself. How many turnovers did we average last season? Miles Johnson asks. That's a good question. Let me get that number for you. So currently, again, they're at 17.8 turnovers per game, the Clippers here. Last season, they were at 13.1. Almost 5 less turnovers per game. It's the difference in usage rating. Let me pull up James Harden's usage rating from last season. I'm sure it was over 20, but I don't think it was in the 30s. Let me see if I can find that for you. See, Kawhi Leonard had a usage rating. When I talked about this with Chuck last night, we kind of disagreed on this point, but I believe just getting Kawhi Leonard back fixes a lot of this. His usage rating last season was 26. Like Paul George was at 26 too. Getting Kawhi back will greatly aid James Harden in lowering the usage rating. Let me find where he was at last season. Why is it taking so long to scan down? Did I miss it? It's like a where's Waldo thing going on here. Like, this is what is being asked out of necessity right now. It's not necessarily optimal. It's not what you'd love to be doing right now with this Clippers team, having James Harden having to do, so much out there with the ball handling responsibilities and setting the table and being the playmaker and being their best isolation scorer. It's too much. It is. And we knew this coming into the season, but it has played out this way. And it's just, I know it's frustrating with all the turnovers, but it kind of is where it is. Look at his usage rating last season. It was barely 20. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, higher usage ratings than James Harden last season. It is a huge difference there. And if you're wondering how you calculate usage rating, it's kind of an estimate thing, as most of the analytics stuff it is. But usage percentage is an estimate of the percentage of team plays used by a player while he was on the floor. And then it's this funky calculation. If you want to see it, I'm even pulling this up from NBA Reddit. I'll show it to you guys. I'm not going to try to crack the numbers here. But field goals attempts plus 0.44. Like it's pretty well cited though, and an effective, respected way to just try to figure out how much is on a guy's plate, basically. So, how do they fix it? Get Kawhi Leonard back. Is that happening anytime soon? I don't think so. If you listen to Law Murray on with me last night, check out, I replayed it on Clippers Talk After Dark. We're getting updates from Mo Bamba and how he's progressing. Not really getting any updates and specifics on Kawhi Leonard and where he's at. Yeah, almost 5 turnovers more per game so far this season than last season. Yeah, they had 15 turnovers in the first half last night. I mean, BZ Boy said James Harden leads the league in fatigue. Well, if you listen to what I was just talking about, I mean, his usage rating is up there with Young Bucks, Maxey, Morant, SGA, Luka Doncic. He's 35. He shouldn't be doing this right now. It's just they don't have many options. I agree with this. Miles Johnson said really thought Mann would take a step up as a secondary ball handler. Really hasn't come to fruition at all. And Terance Mann, after the defensive plays against the Toronto Raptors late, it didn't seem to have much carryover or help out his offense, against the Thunder last night. He still wasn't looking at the basket at times. He still wasn't even getting out in transition and challenging guys. I don't know what it is, but obviously it's just a low confidence thing. But it's honestly alarming that 11 games in, this is happening again to start a season. He's 28. How many times are we going to see this? Like you could say, he'll dig his way out of it or find his way out of it, as he always does. Sure. I kind of need him to be better, though, now. He wasn't supposed to score even less this season without Kawhi, without Paul George so far. And you look at the numbers. Last season, he was just about at 9 points per game, the last 2 seasons. You average out the last 3 seasons, he's closer to about 10 points per game. He's at 5. He's at 5 points per game. The minutes are down by like 2 compared to last season when he was getting 8.8 points per game. He's at 5 right now. He's shooting 37.5% from the field, 20% from 3. It's just brutal. And it's getting to the point. I mean, I've been saying for, last 3 or 4 days, yeah, you could see Terance Mann getting benched, or I certainly wouldn't bat an eye if he was. They're not playing well enough. I know he says, why do you guys, what was the quote? Why do you guys care about me scoring so much? That's not what he's being asked to do. Well, he's not being asked to get 15 or 20 points a game, no, but I think he's being asked to get more than 5 points a game. I think that's fair. I love Terance Mann. I've defended him for years. I think when his confidence is high, he's one of the most important players on this Clippers team. But how often are we going to go through this where we're just waiting for him to catch a rhythm? It's frustrating. It is. Like, I don't know why he seems to ride the wave of emotions more than other players, and his confidence wanes like this, to this extent. At this age now, 28. I mean, I thought 10 to 12 points per game was very reasonable coming into this season. He averaged 11 points per game in that 21-22 season without Kawhi, with Paul George playing 31 games. Why isn't he at least doing that? It's not like they brought in, yes, Norman Powell is getting buckets right now. We'll talk more about Norm coming up and just how he's playing like a top 10 player in the league. But they replaced Paul George with defenders in Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn and bringing in Nico Batum. They didn't bring in Zach LaVine. They didn't bring in some guy to soak up the scoring loss from missing Paul George. So they were going to have to do it collectively. Well, James Harden shooting the ball extremely poorly to start this season. So he's not making up. I know he's getting 21 points per game, but how many shots is it taking to get there? He's not making up for the loss of Paul George. Ivica Zubac and his scoring is up. And that's one guy we expected. I feel like I've been dead on with Ivica Zubac and talking about how he's been ready for this. He just needed the opportunity. Zubac is getting 17 points per game. 17 and 13. I don't know if he'll finish the season that high, but he's doing his part. He's picking up the slack. Almost 60% shooting from the field. He's getting it done, along with elite rim protection again. They're shooting about 51% within 6 feet of the rim against Ivica Zubac. That's right in line where he's pretty much always at for being a top 5 interior defender. He's been great. James Harden is taking, let's see, we got shot attempts here. Almost 17 shots per game to get to his 21 points. So it's a struggle. He is at 36% from the field. He is at 31% from 3. These are career low type of numbers. You tell me they couldn't use a little bit more from Terance Mann, who is definitely capable of giving more? Like I said, Zubac is picking up the slack. He's doing his part. I'm not asking. I don't think anyone's asking Terance Mann to get 15 points a game. Can he get 10? 11, 12? I think that's well within reach. If he's just knocking down threes, if he's just getting points in transition, just doing those two things to score. And then once in a while, the little fadeaway midi. One-legged fadeaway over KD like he had that one game against Phoenix, the second game. I'm not saying Terance Mann is the reason that they don't have 3 more wins. It's not that. But just don't be surprised if at some point, if this keeps going, Chris Dunn is in the starting lineup. I don't know. Amir Coffey's in the starting lineup. Amir has been great. Amir is taking 1 more shot per game than Terance Mann while getting like 30 seconds more playing time per game. He's shooting 55% from 3, 54% from the floor. He's getting 10 points per game. I mean, Chris Dunn, he's getting 7. Still 2 points more than Terance Mann. He's shooting 56% from the floor, 44, maybe get 45% from the outside. I know those numbers aren't going to last, but they're not, even if they have a dip and they're below 40% and around 35% from 3. Terance Mann is at 20% from 3 on 2 attempts per game. It has just been really rough. Like, he had injuries, especially last year he had the ankle injury, and you could say, well, that's the reason you got off to the slow start. What is the reason for this? I don't get it. I don't. I mean, the thing is, when people say he is who he is, it's like, well, I don't know. He just shot 44% from 3 the last 50 games of last season. So is that who he is? He's a career 37% three-point shooter. Why is he shooting 20% so far? Too small of a sample size, but he's struggling from the outside. People are bringing up because he's trade eligible. Is that messing with him? If the right deal came along, I think you got to consider it at this point, but you'd be selling really low. Other people are talking about Jordan Miller. He could be a secondary playmaker, says Legend. The KGM says it's kind of hard for Harden to get in any kind of rhythm when he gets double teamed from the start. Last night, they stopped double teaming Harden. He made 2 threes. They went right back at the double teaming. Yeah, I mean, some of the defenses that they are throwing at him and blitzing him and trapping him and just trying to get the ball out of his hands, that was to the extreme against OKC. It was crazy, the stuff they were doing. And then, by the way, Lou Dort is on him as his primary defender to begin with, even before there's a double team. He's one of the best in the league. Amin says just got to wait till Kawhi comes back to take the load off of Harden. I don't expect him anytime soon. Max Vega said, could T-Mann feel salty because Ty Lue gave KPJ the ball handling duties and scoring duties? No, because they have encouraged Terance Mann to bring the ball up more, so there's less on James Harden's plate. Have him play more off ball. Terance Mann criticized himself for not doing more of that when Law Murray had that interview where Terance Mann kind of lashed out a little bit as much as he can. He's still, he's a gentleman. He's a great guy. He is a fan favorite. We love Terance Mann. I just want to see him be more aggressive. 5 points per game is not enough. There's the trade talk. BZ Boys said, even when Mann has scored a couple of buckets in one quarter, he just disappears after that. Not looking to shoot. Hope he will bounce back. I mean, Coach Lue, seeing him go back-to-back transition buckets against the Raptors in that game on Saturday night and letting him close the game, I think mostly due to that. He thought, okay, Terance Mann brought the spark. His defense was good, of course, but I don't think he scored again. I don't know if he took another shot. Andre Max said, Mann can't score. What do you all don't get? He sucks on pick and roll. He can't read defenses. His only play is in transition with a full head of steam. He's not even doing that. What don't you get? He's not even taking threes. He's not doing the things that he's good at. That's the difference. We're not asking him to do things that are outside of his shot profile. We're just asking him to do the things that Terance Mann is really good at. I think that's why people are frustrated. Look, they're 6-5. I think Terance Mann is going to pull out of this. But if you guys want to have the honest conversation right now about it, because people keep hitting me up about Terance Mann, it's fair at this point to ask for somebody else in the starting lineup. It's also fair because the starting lineup is a minus 35 so far in the season. Now, over 11 games, they're not getting destroyed. They're losing their minutes by a couple points. But Terance Mann has definitely been the weakest link in the starting lineup. So would it make sense to start bringing him off the bench? Maybe he gets his confidence back. I don't know. Is it too redundant to have him and Derrick Jones Jr. out there? Are they overlapping their skill sets too much to the point that Terance is, for whatever reason, taking a step back? He's seeing Derrick Jones Jr. thrive, who has been incredible so far, basically doing Terance Mann stuff, but better. Derrick Jones Jr. is doing his part, guys. He's getting 11 points per game, 50% from the floor, 45% from the outside. He was great last night. I can't say enough. The way he navigates screens is incredible. His point of attack defense. He is everything that they paid for, that they asked for with bringing him in. Is that killing Terance Mann's confidence? I don't know. I think it's fair to speculate at this point. Mean said, why do we not shoot free throws well? Because we can make them. Well, late in games, guys get tight sometimes. But on the season now at the charity stripe, that is worth checking on. Because they started off really low. I think they're higher up now. Let me see where we're at. I mean, they're still 25th. I mean, they were worse, but they're at 74.9%, so 75% from the charity stripe. Let's see what they were at last season in that area and compare. Last season, they were at 82%. Now, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, it's different. Their three-point shooting has popped way up, which is amazing because they went, I think it's just over their last 5 games now. So the first 6 games, the Clippers were shooting 33% from 3. I think right on the dot, 33.0% from 3. First 6 games. The last 5 games, they've been so hot. And let me just go back to the last 5 games, actually. I'm going to pull this for you. Nobody's been better from 3 the last 5 games in the league. The Clippers are at 48%. So they went from their first 6 games shooting 33% from the outside to now being on the season after their last 5 games shooting 48%. They're 5th in three-point shooting. They're at 39.4%. Is that hot shooting going to hold up? No, but they're doing better than I thought. Maybe I just want them to see them around, 37% and above. If they could be at 38% for the season from 3, that'd be big. With the guys they're missing right now, Paul George is gone and not coming back, obviously. But Kawhi Leonard, he's a high percentage three-point shooter. Miles Johnson said it's not even the percentages with Terance, it's the lack of aggression. Derek and Dunn are worse shooters, but they've shot with zero hesitation when the ball has swung their way. That's what I'm saying. I brought this up, Andre. Trade Mann for Dort. That's a automatic timeout. Why would OKC do that, legend? They wouldn't do that. Do they not know that Dort's the better player? What are you thinking? OKC would turn that down. So unproductive. Don't need it. I think Terance Mann is going to pull out of it because history says he will. It's also still kind of inexcusable. He doesn't have an injury. Unlike last year, and I think the year before, there was a wrist thing going on for those slow starts to the season. He's just, when they need him now to take more shots and be more aggressive, he's actually taking less. It would be one thing, if he was around the same when it came to his aggression. He's actually less aggressive without Kawhi, without Paul George. That's what's a little bit confounding right now. I don't know. It's confidence. It's a big deal. It seems to be a bigger deal with Terance Mann. I would almost try this at this point with Terance Mann. Tell him, because he's been good in pressure situations in the playoffs. Tell him, you got 3 games. Show something, or I'm going elsewhere. Or I'll give you to game 15. If I don't see you attack more and do the things that you're good at, where he's been top 3 in finishing at the rim when it comes to field goal percentage the last 2 years, if he's not going to do the stuff he's good at, taking threes, getting downhill, finishing at the rim, I'd be like, hey, you got the next 4 games to figure it out. So not too much pressure, but some pressure, because he's been good under pressure. So maybe they should actually, light a fire and say, this is the deal. 4 games to figure it out, or else we're going a different direction in the starting lineup. I don't know. I trust Coach Lou to make these tough calls. Chemo LA Clippers said it's been a 10-game sample. Maybe time for Coffee to start over T-Mann until Kawhi is back. Hard for me to say since I love me some T-Mann. And my argument has been, well, he'll figure it out. He does this all the time. And starting lineups aren't as important as closing lineups. And all that's true. But he's the weakest player right now in the starting lineup. And if you look at the lineup data, the starting lineup right now is a minus 35 on the season. So could you improve it? And could it help Terance Mann coming off the bench? Could he find himself that way? They are a minus 3.2 per 100 possessions. That's their net rating in the starting lineup. But overall, they've lost their minutes by 35 points in 11 games so far. And then you look at, okay, what are some of the other lineups doing? So that's the lineup that has played the most minutes for the Clippers, as you would expect, the starting lineup, 166 minutes. The next best lineup, or highest minute total lineup at 54, is the lineup I'm telling you guys about, which you criticized heavily after they got blitzed by OKC in the game at Intuit Dome. And they're a plus 10 in 54 minutes. The KPJ, Amir Coffey, Chris Dunn, Nico Batum, Ivica Zubac lineup. Plus 10. They're shooting 51% from the field when those guys are out there and 43% from three. Then you have a lineup that's minus 14 that has played the third most minutes at 36 minutes. It's James Harden, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, Derek Jones Jr., and Amir Coffey. So the lineup with Amir Coffey, with the rest of the starters replacing Terance Mann, is a minus 14 in 36 minutes. Maybe that's the logic of the coaching staff. There it is. Amir Coffey with the other four starters in place of Terance Mann is actually minus 14 in 36 minutes. So maybe it's not an easy solution. I'm sure that's not lost on them. So maybe that's why Terance Mann is getting more time to figure it out. I'm looking to see, though, what the lineup is with the starting four in Chris Dunn in place of Terance Mann. So they've only played 13 minutes so far in 11 games. James Harden, Norman Powell, Chris Dunn, Ivica Zubac, Derek Jones Jr. They are a plus 12 in 13 minutes. They are shooting 63% from the field and 57% from three. It's only 13 minutes. Those numbers are going to regress to an extent. But is it worth entertaining? Going with Chris Dunn. Is that too small of a starting lineup? I don't know. It's not an easy decision. It's not, especially when you see the lineup data like that. Andre Mack said, I think he wanted or expected a bigger role since PG left, and that might have been a buzzkill to him. Man, I'm pretty sure he's gotten a bigger role. He's starting. He has more opportunities and more shots. What's the buzzkill? He does have a bigger role if he's playing well. Otherwise, he won't. Adam Richards said, Zoo couldn't even take advantage of them having no effing centers. I'm so over him. Please trade him for a center with a backbone. My guy, Zubac's had 22 and 14. That's a timeout. If you can't tell that they couldn't even make simple, and I mean simple, post-entry passes to Ivica Zubac, like that's not all on him. That's on his teammates too. They have to be better getting him the basketball in advantageous positions, getting him the ball deeper in the post so he doesn't have to dribble and back guys down so much. What's up, Bay City? Amin said, Terance being less aggressive without Kawhi or Paul can't happen. That's what I'm saying. Hard game to watch? I don't know. I take a lot of positives away from it. Adam Richards said, Paraman. Oh, this is a guy I just muted. Oh, God. Kessler is not better than Zubac. Some people do not know ball at all. Pierre said, I think his confidence isn't there as of yet. If he shoots 1-3 and it doesn't fall, he stops shooting. Amin said, Terance can shoot. He just passes up shots for some reason. Confidence, I think, is the reason. He's not shooting it well. He's shooting 20% from three, so maybe that's why. JMI 1324 said, what's good, Adam? Long time no see. Long time. You good? Axc said, Coffey is better for us to start the game and T-Mann off the bench until Kawhi returns. I just gave you the lineup data with Coffey next to the other four stars. It's a minus 13 in 22 minutes. So that actually projects out to be much worse than the Terance Mann lineup. Would it be if they got more time? I don't know. I would try it, but Chris G said, T-Mann is fine. We just need him to shoot more instead of giving up layups and passing it out to James. Ty needs to have a sit down with him. Okay, I guess he's fine, guys. Axie said the plus minus from JMI 1324 said Amir has actively been better than T-Mann, though. He has been. But the lineup data shows minus 13 and 20 plus minutes with the starters with Amir Coffey. So maybe if that was a plus 13, they would be like, oh, Terance Mann, easy call, or Amir Coffey in for Terance Mann. There's the easy call. Robert said last week you mentioned how high the press table is positioned at the Intuit Dome. If you think that's high, ask broadcast vets like Stu Lance how high he and Chick Hearn used to sit at the Forum. Way off track, but I got you. It's not that high. It's Intuit Dome. There's not a bad seat in the house. Absent said, Coffey plays backup power forward while Batum plays backup center since Kai is pushed out of the rotation. So if Coffey starts, who will play backup power forward? That's fair, but like you could take Coffey out in the first 4 or 5 minutes. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. You know, if Coffey started and then Chris Dunn came in for him 4 or 5 minutes in, so then he could still be playing the backup 4. JMI 1324 said the margin for error is slim. Well, I've been saying that for 4 months. Andre Mack said Coffey off the bench. His defense is weaker than Mann. Dunn start. Mann handles the rock off the bench. KPJ reduced ball handling. I don't hate that. BZ Boys said, is there an update on Mo Bamba? I love to see Kai Jones high-flying dunks, but his defense is hard to defend. He's progressing, but he's not with the team right now. Ernie said, LOL, am I crazy for thinking Kobe could have helped last night? Probably. He showed nothing so far. So, absent. Dunn's minutes have to be kept down because he's injury-prone. He's only played 106 games over the previous 4 seasons combined. And that's not, you're not wrong. But when Chris Dunn's playing as good as he was last night, where did he end up at? 28 minutes. So, played more than Mann. Played more than Coffey. Andre Mack said, role in terms of being free on the court. We all can see that he will dribble up the court, but in terms of running the offense, his role is just to hand off and cut baseline. If you're talking about Terance Mann, I mean, that's true. Miles said, what's the lineup data for the starters minus T-Mann? So just Zoo, Harden, Derrick Jones Jr., and Norm. All right, the 4-man lineup. I'll get that for you here. They obviously have not played a lot of minutes, I'm guessing, without Terance Mann. They're minus 31 in 221 minutes. So Mann's played, 160 of those ones? So, yeah, they have played like 60 minutes without Terance Mann, and they're a minus 31. What you have to take into account is the starting lineup, and one of the big reasons it's a minus is because, well, they're going up against the other team's starters. They're facing the best competition all the time. So you look at some of the backup lineups and you're like, just play them more. Well, the backup lineups are going up against the other team's second unit. It's not equal, the level of competition. But I am a little bit surprised that they're a minus 31, even without T-Mann. It's 11 games. It's 221 minutes. I mean, some of those minutes, I mean, they still include Terance Mann in here in this minus 31. It's just the 4-man lineup of James Harden, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, Derrick Jones Jr. So they played about 160 minutes with Terance Mann, but there's 221 minutes. Those 4 are played on the court together, so 60 minutes without him. And it's still minus 31. But they are shooting 47% from the floor with those 4 out there, and 39% from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. So I'm guessing they've had a couple of bad defensive blitzes go against them, where they just get ambushed and you lose, you go minus 10 in 3 or 4 minutes. But I don't know. It's worth looking at. It was a good call. Axie said, my bad, Adam. I just came in after you had given the plus-minus lineups and didn't hear the one with Coffey starting, and I just wanted to know where you get your plus-minus stats from. NBA.com, man. Pierre Pant, Green Tiger, said, I have observed all the Clippers' losses comes from being tired in the fourth. Their defense is working hard because they're making too many turnovers. I do think how hard they work on defense affects their offense with their turnovers. Guys are more gassed on offense because they're given everything defensively. That is a side effect. Can't watch now, but I'm going to watch this later today. Thanks, Adam. You got it, Ultra. Christian said, I want to see Terance's ISO midi. Ty Lue should give him the green light. It's not very good. I don't think it would go that well if he took a bunch of those. Traditionally, it just hasn't been. Gotta be honest. Chemo said, got to get a split at Houston minimum. Agree. Andre Mack said, best lineup I've seen is Harden, Norm, Dunn, or Coffee, Zoo, and DJ. I just brought up the one with Coffee. It's a minus 13. The Dunn one is a plus, but it's in very few minutes. That Dunn lineup you're talking about has played like barely over 10 minutes so far with the rest of the starters. So, best lineup you've seen, it's been pretty limited. I'll go over it again for you. Again, Coffee in place of Terance Mann with the rest of the starters in 36 minutes is a minus 14. Dunn in place of Terance Mann in the span of just 13 minutes with the rest of the starters is a plus 12. But it's only 13 minutes. So, yeah, maybe if the Amir Coffee numbers were better, they would have already put him in the starting lineup in place of Terance Mann, but they're also not good. Miles Johnson said starters got to be better as a collective, I guess, then. Yeah. Amin said not a split. We need both of them. Sure. Get greedy. Mechanics said, not sure if it's been said, but Nico is the second best post-entry passer after Harden, and third ain't close. Facts. This is the best comment so far. Spot on. Absent regard 24 said, any update on PJ Tucker situation? No. Herney said, I, for one, watched the G League game on Sunday. Kobe and Jordan played good and seemed to be itching to get out there. It's such a shame they aren't given time. G League's very different. Very, very different. Who are they playing over, Ernie? Whole Dirty Dasher said, we really doing this? That's what I'm saying. Andre's laughing at the ISO MIDI comment from Man. I kind of was too. Old Dirty Dasher said, don't we all have PTSD already? Was that referring to? Steve said, why doesn't Dunn run the one instead of KPJ when they're both out there? Way better decision-making and playmaking ability. I don't know if his ceiling is as high in that area as KPJ, and he has run it some. Dunn was awesome yesterday, guys. He might have been, I don't know, he was a top 3 player on the floor for the Clippers. Chris Dunn is the only guy without a turnover. He had 8 assists to 0 turnovers. He had a team-high +4 in a game they lost by 6. His defense was still great. I can't say enough about Chris Dunn in that game. And he got some bad fouls against him. Old Dirty Dasher points out that, yes, Clippers offensively, their margin for error is so slim that they literally can't survive a bad Norman Powell game. Probably not. Andre Mack said, I mean, they almost won that first game. Norm has had one bad game, and I think it was game 1. And they still were up by 9 with 3:52 left. Andre Mack said, Coffee in over Man, better shooting, but weaker D. Dunn in over Man, limited. That's true. We need more of that. The Coffee numbers for Man aren't good with the rest of the starters. Is Farbot in here? Why am I not seeing his comments? Is that Farbot Essentiari? That was a tweet from him. Okay, I see. Amin said, we don't care about PJ Tucker. Bay City said, anyone else think the game wasn't called well? Oh, I think a lot of people didn't feel like it was called well. Axie said, Dunn plays like Pat Bev with aggression. I told you guys like a month before the season started. That's the new Pat Bev. I don't think many people had seen Chris Dunn at all in his NBA career. They forgot about him to some degree. Chris Dunn is about it. He is a bad man. He's got the dog in his rib cage. I made this post, I don't know, a month before the season started, at least. Let me see if I can find it for you. This was them still in Hawaii, I think. When he said this, I can get a little chippy out there, which, yes, you can. Yeah, I put this out on October 1st. So not quite a month before the season started, but I said, Chris Dunn is my new favorite Clipper. Saw a clip with Joey Lynn and wanted people to know they once again have a tone setter and a physical presence on defense like they haven't had since Pat Bev. Not looking for anyone to get hurt, just excited for that toughness and passion again. That's who Chris Dunn is. And then it's a mix of all the little shoving matches and almost fights he's gotten into. Houston on Wednesday. I don't know what you guys were watching, but that's who Chris Dunn is. Legends back and said SGA is such a foul merchant. Andre Mack said Dunn takes care of the rock. Granted, he doesn't try to do too much with the rock. Either he shoots or drives. And floater, he doesn't do the KPJ behind the back cross, behind the back step back. He also just can't, yes, KPJ has a problem with over dribbling sometimes. But when he doesn't, he creates advantages. He can get by guys the way Chris Dunn really can't. Bay City RX7 said, loving the Dunn hustle. Yep. Jackson Snow said, I really don't believe Thunder fans like watching SGA. It feels like anytime I watch a Thunder game, he's either trying to get to the free throw line or passing the ball. I think Thunder fans like watching SGA, Jackson. Sorry to break it to you. He's probably going to win the MVP. Miles Johnson said, really hope Harden can find some efficiency soon. Would be a big boost despite all the good things he has been bringing to the table. Completely agree, Miles. Like, what if Harden can get it going? Find his jumper. Absent said, I think the Clippers have tired legs from playing so hard on defense. I just said that. I think this leads to turnovers and missed free throws. Yes. It's almost like you're kind of listening. So I want you guys to see the 14-0 run from yesterday's game that probably decided the game. Happened in the second quarter. I'll go through the tape here with you guys. And we can talk about how much of this was on the Clippers and how much was this just, I don't know, OKC being really good. Because they are.
And get the ball out of James Harden's hand.
Quality's not great.
Someone else to make a play, which Kobe did.
42. 5:07 left in the second quarter. Clippers made their run. The backups were good. KPJ was good. They're right there. How is this lead getting to 13 before the end of the half? That's what's frustrating here. The defense solid so far. Nice switch. Amir Coffey tries to get over the screen. Now beats Zubac on SGA. So SGA here finds the open man. And this is a nice play by OKC. Just, you talk about being able to create advantages. The Clippers got out of sorts defensively. And eventually, who is this that knocks this down the far side corner? Is that Isaiah Joe? Let me pull up the game log so I can follow along because the quality is poor, as you can tell here. That's Aaron Wiggins with that first three-pointer here. It's, not terribly defended. Terance Mann gets back, gets a hand up. Too little, too late, nothing but net. So there's your first 3 points of this incoming 14-0 run that probably did the Clippers in. Lou Dort's picking Harden up full court, wearing him down. I mean, Harden, he's just turning him. Now Amir Coffey comes up, a little ghost slip screen here. The double stays, gets it to Coffey. Amir Coffey above the left elbow. Kick out to Norman Powell. This is a good look for Norm. He's got, I can't tell if that's SGA on him. This is the same shot that he was hitting in the second half. He misses here. That's not a bad look. So, Clippers generated a decent look. Couldn't get it to go from 3 to tie the game. Back comes OKC here. Here's, I think, Isaiah Joe. This was really well defended. This is Ivica Zubac getting this block, guys. You want to talk about perimeter defense here and Big Zoo having to show something against a small ball lineup. That was impressive. Him blocking Isaiah Joe on this three-pointer here as I replay it one more time for you. Look at this. Thinks he's got Zoo on his heels. No, Zoo recovers nicely and gets a piece of this. But Isaiah Joe gets it back. James Harden stayed with his man. Now Clippers are scrambling a little bit. Little scoop underhand pass to Lou Dort. Lou Dort draws the contact. I mean, Norman Powell's playing him straight up. Again, this is not bad defense. He gets the and one. Norman Powell can't believe it. Clippers did not get benefit of the whistle in the game. So now it's a 5-0 run so far. 4:24 left. This all started at 5:12. It was a tie game at 42. I just can't believe that play by Ivica Zubac. Lou Dort hits the free throw. It's a 6-0 run. And it's less than a minute in. This is how quickly things can just unravel on you. They're picking up full court again. Look at this defense. This is how you wear guys out over the period of a game. I mean, I'm telling you, this OKC defense is still going to be really good. Somebody in here earlier was like, oh, they're not going to be good anymore. They don't have a big man. Guys, they're still going to be good. Norman Powell takes it upon himself to take it full court here and draws an offensive foul, as this is the limitation of Norman Powell as a ball handler. Like, they read this all the way. Stop the ball. They do so. Who ends up picking up the foul? I don't know who the player was there who ended up getting it because, again, the quality. But he's well set. Norman Powell tries to kick it out at the last second to Amir Coffey. I like the intent, but this was telegraphed. This was too easy of a defensive play for the OKC Thunder. They're too sound there. Norman Powell took it all the way up the floor. They read it and draw the offensive foul. So it's a 6-0 run. And there's turnover number 1 by the Clippers here. I think we're going to have 4 in 2 minutes and 40 seconds on this 14-0 run by the OKC Thunder. Lou Dort wants to get the switch and get James Harden onto SGA. Lou Dort pushes Derrick Jones Jr. all the way back. And now you have the mismatch here. Too quick for James Harden. Kick out. Open 3. Off the mark. So that was one the Clippers probably got away with, you could say. The defense wasn't great there, but they still get the miss from Williams, Kenrich Williams there. It's 48-42. Amir Coffey's going to bring it up now. Okay, so we've seen Norman Powell bring it up to alleviate some of the burden off of James Harden. Now you get Amir Coffey bringing it up from left to right. Amir Coffey, top side. This is a nice pass to Ivica Zubac, who... This is one of the better post-entry passes in the ball game. He ends up getting fouled here. They called the foul before the shot went up, before even the double came. That was well executed by the Clippers there. It really was. That's what you have to do. Get it to him quicker, playing with that pace, bringing the ball up the floor with Amir Coffey, and immediately going to Ivica Zubac before they really have a chance there to set their defense in OKC and double Zoo. Kenrich Williams gets called for the foul. Clippers basketball. So inbounder, Amir Coffey makes the entry pass. Chest passed into Big Zoo. Big Zoo's not doing anything here above the arc. He needs help. Hand off to James Harden. And we get an offensive foul. Amir Coffey. Turnover number 2. He tries to set that screen on Lou Dort. He's moving. He puts his caboose into it. It's an offensive foul. There's not much you can complain about there. I like the Clippers trying to play with some physicality at least. But there's turnover number 2 in this stretch. Again, we're looking at a 14-0 run after a tie game at 42 at the 5:12 mark. Here you go again. Boom. Amir Coffey. Remember that muscle he put on 2 years ago? Lou Dort just felt it. he was calling for a flop there. He wanted the flop there. That's a flop. if I'm reading his lips right. He doesn't think he's that strong, apparently. So, SGA, Derek Jones Jr. on him. What do? They want to set the screen and get the switch. They want James Harden on to SGA. Here it comes again. But this time, Lou Dort instead pops out. SGA working topside. Reset it, and now James Harden tries to deny the screen, but fouls Lou Dort here. Now he gets too physical with him. This is frustration by the Clippers to some degree. They're not getting a great whistle. Lou Dort is being the most physical player out there, and they end up calling the foul on James Harden. He didn't like it either. Lou Dort maybe flops again. Inbounds pass, OKC. SGA there, little hesitation on the pump fake with the pull-up. Derek Jones Jr. on him. Attacks. Look at the defenders he draws here, guys. There's 4 guys waiting for him. This is too easy, but it's what SGA can create for you. Wide open 3. Williams this time hits it. I believe that was Williams, yeah. So now it's 51-42. Here comes a really bad turnover. Let's see who brings it up for the Clippers this time. I think it's going to be James Harden. No, they get to Derek Jones Jr. because Dort is on Harden. Now he gets it back to James. James with Dort on him. Passes it to Derek Jones Jr. They have a beat to Zubac. They got him in the dunker spot. Let's see how Zoo was able to get there. They're playing like a box and one. I think Jim Jackson called it out. At least they were. I mean, this is a play that has to be made. And he throws it out of bounds. Derek Jones Jr. Big Zoo. Derek Jones Jr. was really good in the game. That was just a pass that got away from him. I think he was a little bit sped up. The defense dared him. He penetrates and just throws it over and beats Zubac's head. So there's turnover number 3 in this sequence. Clippers are down by 9. Nobody else to blame but themselves there. Can't talk about the officials now. Here we go. SGA, Derek Jones Jr., Lou Dort again, comes up, sets the screen, gets the switch. This time Derek Jones Jr. stays with him. Probably conceded the switch a little bit too easily, if I'm being honest here. There was an opportunity to fight over it. I think that's the defense they were playing at this point of the game in the second quarter. Switch everything. It's early. SGA working, step back, 3-pointer on Harden. Off the back of the rim and out. Beats Zubac, comes up with the board like he should with all the smalls out there. Here's Harden. Harden now on the left wing. Drives, attacks, and there's just a wall, including Ivica Zubac, waiting for him, and you get a jump ball between he and SGA here. This is basically your 4th turnover. I don't know how they called the jump ball that quickly, I got to be honest. But if it's not, it might have been a travel, so. OKC, they like the call. I don't hate the aggressiveness there from James Harden, but he's just going into a sea of defenders, and Ivica Zubac is waiting there too. OKC gets the jump ball, leading by 9, 3 minutes left. They're going to get up to 14 here. SGA brings it in. Now he's got Amir Coffey on him. Williams comes up to set the screen. Oh, SGA doesn't use it. This is good defense here by Amir Coffey. He spins, gets to the dotted line, goes up. They call the foul, hits the shot. The Clippers challenge this as SGA caught Amir Coffey in the face with an elbow. That'll not be the only elbow that he would be dropping bows on Clippers with. Drop bows, drop bows. Shout out Ludacris. This is really good defense by Amir Coffey. I mean, really good defense. Phenomenal defense. They review it. No foul. No offensive foul, though, either, but no foul on Amir Coffey. The shot still counts. So it's about to be 53-42. OKC, 11-0 run, 2:53 left. Remember, this all started at 42-all at the 5:12 mark. This is the post-mortem of a 14-0 run here. Amir Coffey brings it in again. So I like this from the Clippers. They don't even have James Harden. He's tucked away in the near side corner. Chris Dunn is now on the floor. He gets it to Derek Jones Jr. above the right elbow. They're trying to get it to James Harden. They do. James Harden, this is a great look. He's wide open. I mean, I like this a lot. This is another. They've had some decent looks here. during these possessions. Chris Dunn sets the screen. This time they don't get the offensive foul. James Harden, wide open three. It's the way it's been going for him right now. Shooting about almost under 30% from three. Here comes SGA. Chris Dunn on him. Look at this. You have to respect his speed. I mean, Chris Dunn is that good. Step back, straight away, three-pointer, 14-0 run. A 14-0 run in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Tough. That is brutal. Back to your comments, back to your questions. Miles Johnson said, Harden right now, if he continues to have the most inefficient 20-point per game season in modern NBA history, it won't continue. I don't think. Amin said, we got a tough game against Houston back-to-back in Houston. Miles Johnson said, would hope that can't be sustainable. It's not. Andre said, yeah, they need to set up a program for KPJ every time he does those multiple moves. He puts money in a jar or something. He has all the tools, just not upstairs. Yeah, it seems like a little basketball IQ so far, but it's also, I think, a rhythm thing and a guy who just hasn't played for a year. Like, he has made progress. Do not be mistaken. KPJ has made progress, guys, over the last 4 or 5 games now. Mechanic said excited for a few games of closer to league average talent for a couple games. Andre Mack said, take it on Houston. Thunder hit shots when they needed to in the fourth. They did. They scored 35 in the fourth. Hard to win when your opponent makes shots to finish out the game. We needed at least 2 misses without fouls for the win. It's good analysis, man. It honestly wasn't so much that the Clippers were just terrible or something like that in the fourth quarter. Of their 24 turnovers, only 3 of them came in the fourth quarter for the Clippers. Bay City RX7 said, yeah, I noticed a lot of that at time, the full court press. I mean, OKC is elite. They are the best defense. I don't care if they don't have a big man. They're probably the best small ball team that you could have. IQ Ball said, keeping Zoo in the center of the court and not having him shade on any side when he is catching in the post was a key change from the first to the second half that allowed him to be much more effective. Yeah. Got him to his sweet spots quicker. Agree with you. IQ Ball. Not going to lie, Lou Dort was falling all over the place. Clippers thought so. The Kenny GM said OKC were allowed to be physical. We were not. It did feel like that at times, guys. And I haven't talked about the officials once this season. Robert said, is it too early to know whose D is better between Amir Coffey and Jordan Miller? Yeah, because Jordan Miller has played basically no real NBA minutes. I would say so. Andre Mack said, so they put a jump ball as a turnover. I don't know if they did. I said it basically was. Let me see. Yeah, that is a turnover technically. Bay City RX7 said throwing elbows all game. IQ Ball said great fight, difficult game with the number 1 defensive team in the league. Norm is a play finisher. As teams start to scheme for him and draws more attention, we need James Harden to step up. I think he will. IQ goes on. James Harden's defense started off really well at the beginning of the season and has been deteriorating game after game. I think as he is getting tired, he doesn't have much left in the tank. If you want him to do so much offensively, it's going to be a problem to ask him for more defense. Bay City RX7 said KPJ coming on. He has been better, guys. Uncle Mike said KPJ will go off if he gets the minutes. I do understand he's getting coached hard. Hey, Kevin Porter Jr. against Houston the next 2 games, his former team. That's interesting. That's a storyline. IQ Ball said KPJ has probably been one of the worst Clippers so far. This is true, but he's also gotten better. Like the first 3 games versus the last 3 games are night and day. Got to be honest about that. And again, in this game against OKC, he had his moments early on in that second quarter, I think it was. He was fouled on a 3 in the first. I think he went 2 for 3 at the charity stripe. Then he had a 3 on the right wing in the second off a nice pass from Nico Batum, and then a floater with the left hand. It was a 5-0 run by KPJ. Put him up 32-28. Then had a nice fadeaway at the dotted line where he took his defender one-on-one. But then right after that, he had 2 turnovers. The Clippers had 10 turnovers in the second quarter. So the ones we saw there, those 4, they had 6 more in the quarter. Art8 said, I'm not worried when Kawhi comes back. I think we can compete and beat OKC as well as anyone in the West. I agree. When he comes back, we don't know when that's going to be, man. Andre Max said, we need someone else to rebound. Harden is our second leading rebounder, 35 years old. I know he can rebound, but others need to step up. This is a really good point. James Harden's rebounding, guys, it's basically where it's been at in his two best rebounding seasons. He's been phenomenal in that area. He's getting over 8 boards per game, and it doesn't get talked about at all. Really, it doesn't. He's at, let's see, rebounds per game, James Harden. He's at 8.4 boards per game. That's incredible. He has always been underrated in that area. 8.4. His best rebounding season was 8.5. That was 2021, and that was only in 36 games for Brooklyn. So it's not even just bringing the ball up. He has to rebound so much too. It's all adding up. Kala is a doomer and will be put on timeout. I'm sorry, but we're not going to give up on the idea of Kawhi coming back. You can, just not here. Don't need the negativity. Absent said, when Kawhi and Bamba get back, would Lou consider an 11-man rotation? The Clips have at least 11 guys that deserve minutes. I don't know. He's typically a 9-man rotation guy. Like, it's 10 right now, but Kai's not getting many minutes. So I think, that KPJ suspension could still be coming, guys. I would be surprised if it doesn't at some point. The Kenny GM said, jump ball. If we don't get the ball back, it's a turnover. Yep. Bay City RX7 said, him and Joker only players to be averaging 28 and 9. Incredible. The efficiency is not there. The effort is, for the most part. The workload is with James Harden. Regardless of the efficiency, the workload is there, and he has absolutely been responsible for it. He's doing everything he can. IQ Ball said, Derrick Jones Jr. has been everything as advertised and more. Great pickup. The open 3 shooting, on-ball defense and screen navigation, transition offense. Facts. Andre said, I get it because he's slower, so he stays closer to the rim for those straps and rebounds, and the younger guys fly around the perimeter. He was also asked to get more rebounds. They knew he was a good rebounder. He's got to do it. It's just necessary for the Clippers right now. So I don't know. It's easy to pile on James for the lack of efficiency, but then you put everything together in context of what he's actually being asked to do. Like, it's just, for a guy who's 35, it's not feasible for him to also shoot super high percentages while doing everything else. It's just not. So yeah, can Kawhi fix all that? I think so. I think most of this stuff he can fix when he gets back. I guess there was footage of him at Intuit Dome. This was, I don't know when this could have came out, and I'm not sure the artist. I'm not that aware of the artist, Hit Boy. Maybe you guys can help me out here. This came from Hit Boy's TikTok, and Jamal Christopher put it out. But I will show you a little bit of a sneak peek of maybe what Kawhi Leonard has been up to. They're going to go down to the training room, and there's Kawhi. He's on some leg press machine. Daps up Hit Boy. That's it. It was quick. It was real quick. Like footage of the abominable snowman or Bigfoot or something. There's Kawhi. He does look leaner here than he did at Media Day. So, I mean, they say he's progressing, whatever that means. I don't expect him back anytime soon, based upon what Law Murray told me. Let me tell you a secret, Andre. The All-Star break isn't at the halfway point of the season. There's like 25 games left after the All-Star break. IQ Ball said there's no on-ball juice other than Harden, honestly. That's why KPJ is getting such a big opportunity, because he can provide some of that at his best. He can, and they need it. I wish Terance was doing more of it, but it's just not his game. Bay City RX7 said, can't wait to see Kawhi back on the floor. Yeah. Let me make sure we don't have any updates today from Law Murray, just in case here before I close things out. Appreciate you guys in the chat here. Let's see. So Mo Bamba, this is interesting, guys. We got an update for you. Mo Bamba will not play in Houston, but he is now on assignment with the San Diego Clippers. There we go. There's your Mo Bamba update. How about that from La Murray? Boom. That's encouraging. So maybe next week, Mo Bamba's back. Maybe on Sunday when the Clippers return from Houston. That's not nothing. What else do we got? Make sure we're good. No, we're good. We're good. Thank you, La Murray, for the update. There you go, guys. Andre Max said exactly. We go 22-3 and make the playoffs. Boom. Kawhi plays in the playoffs. Also, he's not going to play every game when he comes back. So this whole back after the All-Star break at the halfway point, like, it's not the halfway point, and he won't be playing every game. So I agree. This team is really fun, guys. I tweeted out during the game, I think in the second quarter. Excuse me, I think in the second quarter yesterday. At one point, I just tweeted out, I love this team. I do love this team. Easy to root for this team. IQ Ball said, let me see Kawhi in the playoffs again, please. Absent Regard 24 said, Kawhi averaged the most minutes of his career last year. I would like to see him play no more than 28 minutes a game during the regular season. That'd be nice if the team can hang in there. The way they're built and the defense they're playing, it's possible. Alex Webb said, going to the games at the Toyota Center in Houston for both Wednesday and Friday. Repping Clipper Nation. Let's go. That's awesome, Alex. Enjoy. Chris G said, we'd love to see PJ on the bench just so we can put up the old newspapers on the wall again. Out of pocket. But kind of fair. All right, guys. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the film session here. Just how a game can get away from you in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, a 14-0 run. How it happens to the Clippers. And you just blink of an eye, honestly. Even with me slowing it down, blink of an eye, just like that. Less than 3 minutes, 14-0 run. And Clippers had a couple of good looks there. Harden wide open three. Norman Powell had a good look, but the 4 turnovers, rough. Appreciate you guys. Maybe we'll have a Clippers Talk after dark later tonight. We shall see. Until then, this has been Clippers Talk.